Hello and welcome to Economics Live from the School of Philosophy and Economic Science in London. The school teaches economics with justice because it's been clearly observed that the world's economic arrangements are failing to secure the peace and prosperity that is their real purpose. The world was, the world still is full of manifest economic injustices, whose most obvious symptom is the accumulation of economic wealth in relatively few hands at the expense of many people. And I suppose the failure of so many people to achieve even the basic standard of living that they can reasonably expect. So, my name is Ian Mason. I'm a tutor and student of philosophy and economics in the school. And the idea of justice has always been central to the economics taught in the school. This can be a problem because it's not that easy to say exactly what the word means, the word justice, despite the efforts of some of the world's greatest philosophers over thousands of years. As a working proposition in the school, we adopt the definition of the Roman Emperor Justinian, which is fairly widely accepted, who described justice as the constant will to render to everyone their due. But that begs the question, what is their due? We tend to answer this by saying that it at least involves a fair measure of knowledge, health, happiness, freedom, and prosperity for everyone. That's one way of looking at it. And it's not entirely arbitrary. For more than 60 years now, the school has benefited from philosophic help and guidance from a living tradition of philosophy based in India. Through a long series of conversations between the school's leaders and two masters of that tradition, called Shankaracharyas, the teachings of a 6th century Indian philosopher called Shankara have been carefully expounded in great detail. Shankara's philosophy is called advaita vedanta, and like all genuine philosophy, is as relevant today as it has ever been. This is not the time or place to expound that philosophy in any detail, although you can get some help from our other weekly Facebook Live broadcasts, Sanskrit Live on Mondays, Awareness Live on Thursdays, and Philosophy Live on Fridays, and from the school's courses. It's enough for now to say that the central principle of Shankara's philosophy is the unity of humankind, all living creatures, and the world, indeed the universe we live in. There is no other. We are all united in a common wholeness. As individuals, we are completed by our participation in that wholeness. As human beings, we have to work out the implications of this in practice, which is where economics comes in, and why justice is such a relevant consideration. The principle to render to everyone their due has to be seen in the light of this sense of the wholeness of humanity and the universe we inhabit. Justice, you might say, is the expression of that wholeness in human affairs, and the expression of it used in the school as requiring a fair measure of knowledge, health, happiness, freedom, and prosperity for everyone is derived from that philosophy. But it seems that every generation has to work this out for themselves in a way. And so discussion about the meaning and application of the idea of justice is likely to continue to be part of human life for the foreseeable future. The towering figure on the subject in the 20th century was the American philosopher John Rawls, who died in 2002. Rawls's great work, A Theory of Justice, published in 1971, and subsequently revised in Justice as Fairness, published in 1985, sets out a comprehensive vision of how justice might become a practical guide in modern states. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy describes John Rawls as an American political philosopher in the liberal tradition. His theory of justice as fairness describes a society of free citizens holding equal basic rights and cooperating within an egalitarian economic system. His theory of political liberalism explores the legitimate use of political power in a democracy and envisions how civic unity might endure despite the diversity of worldviews that free institutions allow. Well, that's a description. What you notice is that freedom and equality are constant themes in discussions about justice and how to apply it. This was taken up by another philosopher, economist called Amartya Sen, in his book, The Idea of Justice, published in 2009. Sen, who's from India, and held professorships in India, the UK, where he became Master of Trinity College, Cambridge, and at Harvard in the US, won the Nobel Prize for Economics in 1998 for his work on welfare economics and social choice theory. He's also given careful attention and thought to the occurrence of serious famine, and is credited with the observation that there has never been a serious famine in any country with a functioning democracy. He does stress the word functioning, which means not only free elections, but must at least include a free press, freedom of speech, freedom of information, adequate education, and absence of coercion as well. Now, while acknowledging the considerable value of Rawls's work, Sen starts his book with a critique of what he calls Rawls's transcendental institutionalism. His argument is that just institutions by themselves may or may not result in justice for everyone in economic and civil life, and that in the quest for the ideal institutional framework, it's all too easy to lose sight of the lives that people actually live. Rather than aim for some ideal of justice, he says, it's better to identify and deal with manifest injustices like famines in the contemporary world. This rather more pragmatic approach brought about his involvement in developing the annual World Human Development Report, the Sustainable Development Goals, which are intended to be a practical approach to dealing with manifest injustices in the modern world. Debate will no doubt continue about the meaning and importance of justice as generation after generation works it out for themselves. But working it out in practice doesn't mean reinventing the wheel. The insights of ages, including the insights of Shankara's philosophy of oneness, are here to help. The implications in practice are for us all to work out. So, thank you for listening. You can find out more about economics with justice and working it out, and also about practical philosophy on the school's website at www.schoolofphilosophy.org. So farewell for now. Have a good day.